Imagine for a second standing inside a running jet turbine. You can hear the hum, you can see the internal components spinning around you, and you have like an expert guiding your hand on exactly how to perform a critical maintenance check.
Right, which sounds like standard virtual reality, but...
But here's the crazy part. Imagine you built that turbine, the tools to fix it, and the virtual expert standing next to you, all by typing a single sentence just 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, that is a massive leap.
It's a complete tectonic shift in how we learn complex, hands-on skills. And it's all driven by a major announcement released today, August 25, 2026. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are pulling from a stack of sources today specifically, a new white paper and official announcements from Irvine, California-based EON Reality, along with a separate entity called EON AI Ventures.
Yeah, and they've just announced a next-generation simulation platform called EON XR Infinite.
Which, if you are listening to this, whether you manage technical training for a massive enterprise or you're just trying to master a complex physical skill yourself, this matters to you. We are watching a live shift away from those clunky traditional learning management systems.
Right, the typical LMS that just acts as a filing cabinet for PDFs.
Exactly. We're moving from that static learning environment to AI-generated, fully interactive 3D simulations.
And this represents a massive pivot for a company that is already deeply established. EON Reality has a 25-year history in the immersive learning space. They're deployed across more than 80 countries.
Wow, so they're not a startup.
No, not at all. Their stated mission has always been about making knowledge available, accessible, and affordable on a global scale. But to move forward with this new EON XR Infinite platform, they are making a highly aggressive business move.
Right.
They're actively killing off their original, highly successful product, EON XR Classic.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand the new platform, we really have to look at why the old one is being forcibly retired. And the fascinating thing here is that EON XR Classic isn't shutting down because it failed.
Yeah, EON Reality themselves acknowledge it was a highly effective product for its specific era. It served for years as a necessary bridge between a traditional LMS and a physical lab.
It gave immersive content to teachers and trainers who basically had nothing.
Exactly. It put baseline 3D tools in their hands. But customer feedback highlighted a functional ceiling. It delivered solid value, but it was fundamentally far away from being a true, fully interactive simulator.
It's kind of like buying a high-end DVD player back in the late 90s.
Right.
For its time, that technology was a huge leap forward. It bridged the gap between going to the movie theater and watching high-quality video in your living room, complete with interactive menus. But no matter how advanced that DVD player was, the underlying hardware could never give you the dynamic, on-demand streaming experience of a modern smart TV.
That is a perfect analogy for the functional limitation. But there is a much more technical, absolute reason why they're pulling the plug on Classic.
The honest reason, as they put it.
Yeah, in their official communications, they are highly transparent about it. That original platform was built standing on top of software technologies and APIs provided by third-party companies.
Right.
And recently, a critical mass of those third-party providers simply switched their technologies off.
Oh, wow. So the digital foundation literally evaporated beneath them.
Precisely. And engineering teams just can't outrun that kind of fundamental dependency failure. The white paper uses a really accurate parallel for the 3G network sunset.
Oh, yeah, like with cell phones.
Exactly. Over the past few years, when carriers decided to switch off 3G, millions of perfectly functional cell phones instantly became paperweights.
Not because the phone broke.
Right, and not because the user did anything wrong. The network architecture underneath the device simply ceased to exist. When that happens in software, you don't waste resources trying to patch it. You are forced to migrate to a completely new architecture.
So because the 3G network of their old platform died, EON Reality didn't try to salvage the code. They brought in a completely new foundational engine.
Yeah, and they licensed this new foundation from a separate legal entity, EON AI Ventures.
And they established formal IP and operational agreements for this, right?
Yes. EON AI Ventures originally developed a modern Babylon-based engine called EON Genesis. That specific Genesis engine is the core technology powering this new platform, EON XR Infinite.
The term Babylon-based is so critical here for how this actually gets to users. For those, not deep in the 3D rendering space, Babylon, specifically Babylon.js, is a powerful, real-time 3D engine that runs right in a standard web browser via HTML5.
Which is huge for enterprise deployment.
Totally. You don't need a massive, heavy application download. It processes the graphics right there in the browser.
And that drastically reduces the friction of rolling this out across a massive organization.
Mm.
But the web architecture is just the delivery mechanism. The content creation mechanism is what fundamentally flips the traditional training model on its head.
Because historically, building a 3D training module required a whole team.
Oh, absolutely. 3D modelers, developers, instructional designers, it took months.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The workflow in EON XR Infinite bypasses all of that. An author, so maybe a university professor or a factory manager, simply types in a subject prompt.
Just types it in.
Yeah, and then the platform reaches out to a database of roughly 1 million free 3D models. And the white paper is clear that these aren't just scraped randomly from the web. The system ensures they are license checked for commercial use.
Right, automatically recording the proper attribution so clients don't face copyright liability.
Exactly. But wait, so I just type a word and it instantly generates a whole mechanical structure. How detailed can it actually get without human input?
Well, what's fascinating here is the speed and the AI interpretation. The system pulls that commercially cleared model, generates a photorealistic 360-degree environment around it, and builds a fully narrated interactive 3D simulation.
In like, what, a few minutes?
30 seconds. They clocked a real-world generation process in the source material at approximately 30 seconds.
30 seconds from a text prompt to a spatial computing environment. That is insane.
But to answer your question about how it knows what to do with the geometry, that is where the underlying AI architecture is doing some very heavy lifting.
Right, because generating shape is one thing, but understanding how a machine part functions is entirely different.
Exactly. The source material highlights a live run example. They had the system analyze a complex 3D object of a jet engine. The system didn't just render the graphics, it utilized AI, computer vision, and metadata analysis to automatically identify the individual mechanical components.
Oh.
Yeah, it correctly named 12 distinct parts on that real jet engine and then automatically drafted the procedural document for interacting with those specific parts.
So it's reading the spatial geometry and cross-referencing it with large language models trained on technical schematics.
Right.
But I've got to say, if an AI is instantly writing procedural manuals for heavy machinery or jet engines, I'd be terrified of AI hallucinations. We've all seen AI make things up. You can't have an AI guessing how to fix an engine.
And in an enterprise context, that kind of hallucination isn't just an annoyance, it is a severe safety liability.
A total non-starter.
The stakes in technical training require absolute precision, and the architects of this platform clearly recognize that generative AI on its own cannot guarantee that precision. So they instituted a structural failsafe.
What does that look like?
The source material outlines a crucial, non-negotiable safeguard. A human expert must review and correct every single AI-produced label and procedure before anything can be published.
So it's a mandatory human-in-the-loop workflow.
Absolutely mandatory. The software simply does not allow that step to be bypassed.
Okay, that makes sense.
The AI does the highly time-consuming tasks, generating the environment, sourcing the model, analyzing the geometry, and drafting the initial steps. But the human domain expert acts as the final editorial authority.
It basically eliminates the blank page syndrome for the trainer. They aren't building a course from scratch. They are simply editing an AI-generated draft.
Exactly. And the way that draft is structured for the end user is highly systematic.
Right. The sources detail how the platform scales this. From that one single subject prompt, the system actually returns 5 different courses, graded on a complexity scale.
From level 1 to level 5.
Yeah, it starts at level 1, which is starting out, and goes all the way up to level 5, mastery.
And the author retains complete modular control. They can use the whole 5-level curriculum, or just select specific levels, or overwrite the AI structure to build their own custom course.
And within those levels, the platform has 4 specific ways to learn. They call them show me, train me, let me try, and evaluate me.
If we break down the functional application of those modes, it really mirrors a highly effective apprenticeship model.
Like show me is essentially an automated guided tour, right?
Yeah, it just
Cool.
walks the user through the components. Then train me introduces guided practice, likely highlighting parts and requiring the user to mimic the correct interaction.
And then let me try removes the visual prompts.
Exactly. Forcing the user to rely on spatial memory to complete the procedure.
And evaluate me is the critical step for enterprise compliance, right? because it's fully scored.
Yes, it captures the user's performance data and feeds those visible results back to the administrators. It proves that the learner actually understands the physical procedure rather than just, clicking through a multiple choice quiz.
Right. And to make this globally scalable, the platform uses photorealistic AI presenters to deliver spoken narration in multiple languages.
You essentially have a personalized, multilingual domain expert embedded inside the photorealistic environment, dynamically guiding the user. This fundamentally redefines how fast a multinational organization can standardize training across different global facilities.
And this speed is exactly why the platform carries the Infinite branding. EON Genesis is primarily for custom enterprise deployments, but Infinite offers an endless, on-demand supply of subjects.
It doesn't rely on a fixed catalog.
And there's this compounding network effect that the white paper talks about. Once a 3D model and its procedures are approved by a human expert, that verified asset joins a global library.
The efficiency gains there are exponential. Look at the speed metrics provided in the text. A first-time build of a simulation where the AI has to source the model, generate the environment, and draft the text takes about 25 seconds.
Which is already crazy fast.
Right. But a repeat build, where the system simply pulls that human-verified model from the established library, takes just 0.2 seconds.
Wait, 0.2 seconds.
Yeah. It is the architectural difference between writing a technical manual from scratch every single time someone asks a question versus instantly pulling the verified master copy from the archive.
Wow. So what does this all mean for the people whose old software is being forcibly retired? Because in the tech industry, a generational shift like this is usually an excuse to force customers into an expensive upgrade.
Oh, yeah. The traditional enterprise software playbook relies on backing the client into a corner, sunsetting the old product and demanding a premium for the new one.
But EON Reality is doing something completely different here.
Their strategy is highly unusual because they are aggressively removing the three traditional friction points of tech adoption, software cost, hardware investment, and migration labor.
Right. The sources outline a zero-cost software transition. Every single existing EON XR Classic customer gets EON XR Infinite at no additional cost on their current subscription tier.
They aren't treating it as an upsell. It's a retention strategy. It's a planned generational transition, not an abandonment. By not charging for the upgrade, they prevent users from shopping around for competing platforms.
But deploying spatial computing usually requires buying all new hardware, too. EON Reality neutralized that barrier as well.
Yeah, the new platform is explicitly built to run on the Meta Quest 3 headsets.
Which their customers likely already have.
Exactly. By maintaining compatibility with the Quest 3, EON protects the customer's sunk hardware costs.
But I think the most significant relief is the time and labor for data migration. If a university spent 5 years building hundreds of custom modules in the old platform, forcing them to manually rebuild all of that is a nightmare.
It usually leads to massive customer churn. But EON Reality is providing direct hands-on engineering help to bring the work across.
EON does the heavy lifting, not the customer.
Right. The announcement states that while some legacy material converts automatically, the rest needs manual rebuilding. And EON's own teams are doing that work.
This whole approach seems deeply rooted in the founder's philosophy.
Yeah, Dan Legerskar, the founder and chairman, explicitly addressed this. He stated that he refuses to pretend the old product was a full simulator. He acknowledges it was a necessary bridge, but he recognizes that his customers always fundamentally wanted a true interactive simulator.
Because EON XR Classic always had that gap, he refuses to ask anyone to pay for the difference to get the new one.
It's a highly strategic piece of framing.
Okay, so summarizing this massive deep dive, we've explored the death of EON XR Classic due to sunsetting third-party tech, basically the 3G shutdown of their network.
Yep.
And in its place, the birth of EON XR Infinite, a platform that merges AI speed with mandatory human accuracy, turning a simple text prompt into a highly detailed 5-level interactive 3D simulation in seconds.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this represents a fundamental shift in how we capture human capability. The sources introduced this concept from EON AI Ventures called work intelligence.
Right, capturing the verified knowledge of how expert work is actually done.
Exactly. I want to leave you, listening right now, with this scenario to mull over. Imagine a world where work intelligence means that every physical expert procedure ever perfected by a human is encoded into an AI-guided simulation.
You wouldn't just be reading about how an expert works.
No, you'd be stepping into their exact environment, practicing their precise movements infinitely on any device. What happens to the value of experience when 20 years of hands-on expertise can be downloaded into your living room in 30 seconds?
That is the real paradigm shift. We're moving past just reading the manual on how to ride the bike. The technology is now instantly generating the bike, mapping the road, and placing the expert coach right alongside you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring the boundaries of how we learn, and we'll catch you on the next one.